All right, Eugene. Go ahead. Where'd you grow up?
Oklahoma, well, partially Oklahoma and California, because when I come to California, I was 15 years old, just got kicked out of high school in Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
And that's when I come to California.
All right.
So,
What year were you born?
1927.
1927. All right.
Is that on?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see no light. That's really
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, it's on. So 1927. All right. And you're the only kid, or?
No, it was, I had another brother, but I had some half-sisters and a half-brother from my previous, my dad's previous marriage.
Oh, okay.
Then I'm by his last wife.
So,
Me and my brother is 1 year older than I am.
Oh, okay. So, how was it growing up in Oklahoma?
Well, I couldn't tell too much about it because I was a youngster. And from what I've seen, I didn't do too bad. You know, I was without a father. My mother and grandmother raised me.
Okay. Now, you went to school, right?
I went to school, to me it was a blessing for me to get kicked out because my mother she was a maid, and they didn't make much money during that time.
Yeah.
And I felt more of a burden on her by her out going to other places in order to feed me, to try to send me to school. So it was kind of a blessing for me to get kicked out of school.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that, well, I'm big enough to take care of myself.
Right. What age were you when you got kicked out?
15.
15. So you're a freshman in high school?
Freshman, no.
Or sophomore?
Sophomore.
Sophomore in high school, right? Okay. What high school did you go to?
Favor.
Favor?
Favor High School in Guthrie.
In Guthrie? Guthrie, Oklahoma? All right. How was the school there before you got kicked out? Anyways, how was school at Guthrie?
How was school?
Yeah.
Well, school was okay with me.
Yeah.
Just that I was just kind of glad that it didn't make me no difference whether I got kicked out or not because I wanted to leave anyway.
Yeah. What'd you get kicked out for?
I said some kind of curse word I used in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But see, at the time, I wasn't aware that you had only one black school. If you get kicked out of that school, where are you going? There's no other school where you can go. You can't go to no white school. But I never thought about that in terms. I'm 15 years old. What the hell do I know about that?
Exactly, yeah. All right, so after you got kicked out, how long did you work for, and where did you work?
I took a little job in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. That was an army place. Me and the same guys that came to California, we went down to Fort Sill and worked a couple of months. Then after that, me and the other two of us decided to come on to California. Because one of the guys had already been to California. He was telling us how good it was.
Oh, okay. What year was this?
This was in 1942.
1942. Oh, okay. So when you came to California, where did you come in? Yeah,
when I first come to California, I went to Fresno.
How'd you get to Fresno?
A freight train.
Freight train? How'd you get on the freight train?
From Oklahoma City to Fresno by freight.
Just jumping on it?
Just jumping on the freight, going there. We get, people always would give you good, tell you how to go about getting different places and about what places you better look out for.
Right.
Them guys would,
what are they called?
Catch you off, get you off.
Get you on the road, yeah.
Yeah, beat your ass, do what you want.
Yeah, just mug you.
So they always told us the hot spots. So that made it kind of easier for us.
So you made sure to stay away from those.
Yeah.
On your trip to California.
Yeah.
All right. So you got to Fresno. What'd you do when you first got to Fresno?
See, he knew some people there. That the people he knew there was the people he stayed with before you came back to Oklahoma. So it was easy for him and me to go back. See, one of the guys who was with us got lost from us. He hopped off the freight went to do something and before
Never
he
came
got back,
back?
the freight was gone.
Really?
So
And you guys were
I
just
don't-
wait. You
I
guys were
didn't
just
see
waiting
him
for
no-
him.
I didn't see him no more for a couple of years.
Oh,
But
okay.
he
So
got-
all right. So
He
you
got as far as L.A. and that's why he stopped in L.A.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, me and this other guy, we went on into Fresno, and during that time they was picking cotton in Fresno,
Mm.
and I fell right in picking cotton. And
That was still 1945, right?
Huh?
That was still 1945 at that time, or
No, this is 1942. I was 15.
Oh, it was 1942. Sorry.
I was
Yeah.
15 then.
Yeah, 1942. That's right.
And then I picked cotton there until just about all the cotton was gone. Then I started working at a Crest. They had these Crest stores.
Mm-hmm.
They sold most of everything. Most big places got a Crest. So I worked at a Crest for a couple of months. Then I went back there. Went to L.A. then from Fresno to L.A.
Okay.
And I spent the rest of my time in L.A.
What'd you
Until I
do?
went in the Army.
Oh, okay. What'd you do in LA before you went to the army?
Well, after I went to L.A.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Once you went to
Well,
LA,
when I went to L.A., I signed up to go to work for the Southern Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
And
train
some,
company.
as a cook.
Oh, okay. So you're a cook on the
So
train.
I worked my way up, and they got stages that you work your way up.
Mm-hmm.
A 40 is a pot washer. A 30 is a guy that does the vegetables, stuff like that.
Yeah. All the prep
So I
work,
worked
yeah.
my way up to the 30, which you could call the 30, which would be the guy that do the vegetables.
Yeah.
And then by that time they found out I wasn't 15. Well, by that time I think I was 16.
Yeah. Okay.
But I wasn't old enough
To be working on there,
to
yeah.
be working on the train cooking.
Yeah.
And so they called me and let me go and told me when I got to be 18, come back. But by the time I got to be 18, I went in the Army.
Yeah.
So I didn't see no more of that.
Yeah. Did you get you signed up for the army or you got drafted?
Well, actually, I was drafted. First, my brother went in a year before I did. I signed up the same time he did. But my mama was still in Oklahoma. And she didn't like the idea of me volunteering. So I went back and told them that no, I better not go in. My mom didn't want me to go at that age. So I didn't go. So
How old were you at that time?
Hmm?
How old were you when you
At
volunteered?
that time when I was going to volunteer?
Yeah.
I was either 16 or I was the first part of 17.
Okay.
But after my mom encouraged me not to do that, I went back and told her no, my mom didn't want me to do that. So I got out of that, and then when I got to be 18, I was drafted. So
Mhm. Yeah, so you got
Then
sent
another
either
year-
way.
Yeah, another year
Another
later.
year
I was
later,
drafted.
you got drafted anyway. Yeah. Oh man. So
Well, you see, she already had one son in the Army, him.
yeah.
When he was in the Army, when he went in the Army at the time, he had to fight. He was a year older than I was.
So yeah, he
they
was
were still fighting
they
then.
were still fighting. Yeah.
So she didn't like the idea of neither one of us getting killed. She sure didn't like the idea of both of us going in
Oh,
and
I
not
bet.
coming out. Because nobody knew at that time when the war was going to end until the Japanese went on surrendered.
Yeah.
And they didn't surrender until 1945. And I believe it was in August when they did that. I believe it was. I'm not sure.
Okay.
If it wasn't August, it had to be July. But I think it was in August.
Tell me about the process of you getting drafted. How that worked.
There's no in the process of getting drafted at that time. All you did at the time when you got to be 18,
Mm-hmm.
you go down and let them know you're 18 years old.
Yeah.
And when you let them know you're 18, then you're automatically drafted.
Mm.
That's what drafts you, being 18.
Yeah.
You tell them you're 18.
Yeah.
Then just wait for them to call you.
Yeah. So when they called you, you just got on the bus and went down to boot camp, or
No, see, when actually at 18, I'm a young kid out there by myself too, and I'm going drifting from one place to I never knew what place I was going to be in, and I kind of got lost with my mail, so I really didn't know when they drafted me. I mean, I knew when I was drafted, but I never didn't know when I was really called. So 2 or 3 months later, they picked me up for draft dodging.
oh shit.
And I didn't know that
Yeah.
I had to, because tonight I might be in this hotel, the next week or something, I may be across town in another. So I
Yeah.
never knew where my mail was coming from. And that's the only way I was going to be able to tell when to go in is keep up with my meal, and I wasn't doing that. So I was considered a draft dodger. I think I was supposed to went in the Army in July. I wound up going in October. And I was considered a draft dodger, so they threw me in jail for about 3 or 4 days and took me down to Camp MacArthur. That's, you ever heard of MacArthur?
MacArthur, yeah.
Yeah, well, Camp MacArthur in San Pedro.
Oh, okay.
Well, and took me down there, and then once I went down there, and then, with no problem, I was physical able and in good shape, A1. So that's the extent of me getting in, and I guess the extent of my draft dodging, because I wasn't aware that I was a draft dodger because I wasn't keeping up with my mail.
Yeah, it was probably going to your house in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were in California at the time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.